Welcome back to the Grip Equipment Kansas City Wide Open presented by Dynamic Discs. We are here at Stocksdale Park in Liberty, Missouri, and happy to be out here calling this coverage with Connor O'Reilly.
What's up, Nathan? Happy to be in the booth with you at this Bad Rock Creek disc golf course. We've seen some adjustments to this course apparently from last year. Course is looking good. It's got a good variety of shots, a lot of tight gaps, some open, out-of-bounds lined holes as well. And here's a look at that leaderboard after 9. Some hot scores on a course that can be difficult if you're missing your lines.
Absolutely so, but these hot scores showing you it can also be scoreable if you're hitting your lines.
And here we are, starting off the back 9 with our longest par 3 on the track. Big bomber, 487 feet. You can play this one safe and just lay up somewhere into the short landing zone and probably chip about the same disc into the green if you'd like to. Depending on the wind, some players might want to attack this one for that too, especially the right-hand backhand players with all this airspace off to the right. You really got to get on this one though. Only circle one width, short and long of the basket, so not a lot of room to work with here. You got to play this one good and you got to have big power. The wind can really change up your play here.
Yeah, like you mentioned, circle one, so you've got to carry about 450 feet to be able to make it inbounds.
Left to right wind pulling on the discs here. Does it have the height?
Oh, and just finishes high enough. He's going to be circle's edge over on the right side, putting at a birdie.
It is important to note we saw a number of different winds throughout the week of practice on this hole, but we never saw the left to right, so all these players having to trust it, maybe make a disc selection chains, and Gannon punching this thing out there.
Oh my goodness. He put it high. He gave it so much height to try to control that distance and let it slow down, but still went a little bit too far.
Yeah, that wind just held him off there, didn't let him fade back, maybe needed to bump up in stability.
MPO going to take that layup play. I really appreciate that. You don't see that too often from people who really do have the power to reach this.
Yeah, I think for Matt, he hadn't seen the wind in practice, and likely he just says, you know what, this is not a hole to be half-hearted on.
Yeah, he's got his clean round going, and he's going to want to keep it that way. As Ben Callaway, also too much power, only by about 30 feet.
Why are you so strong, Ben? And Matt gets flat on this approach, looks to be maybe a justice.
Uh-oh. Oh, just kidding. Weird camera angle threw me off there. That was a great shot.
It did look like it was a little inside, but died out nicely for him. Here's that A2 approach that Gannon loves, and he kind of yanks that. That was very poorly done for one of the best arm talents in the world.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a motion like that from him. It looked like maybe his shoulder opened up early.
I think that's an awkward distance for Gannon. He jump putt so far. As soon as he's just outside that range, he doesn't have that touch really developed in his game yet. I think over the years he will find that touch, but it's something that he doesn't. That's maybe his 1 weak spot right now.
So it looks like that may have been a provisional that he threw, and they have just spotted him now. That was his putt for 3, as they spotted him crossing inbounds over there. So I don't believe that first one's going to matter. He's going to be putting for a bogey now.
Yeah, always good to play those provisionals, mainly for the pace of play. Paul, very good birdie here on 10.
And not to skip over Ben making his comeback putt there to save his par. Great save there after what seemed to be a great drive.
Yeah, not many players going to find the out-of-bounds long here. I think you can be happy with, or okay with that as a player, knowing you committed and, you know, you got the juice. 12% birdie on hole 10 for the day.
Yeah, that's just 13 players out of the 108 that were here.
Yeah, definitely a big boy par 3, we'll say.
And MPO executed his plan nicely. He's going to get his par, walk on to the next hole with his clean round intact. And what a doozy the next hole is. Par 3, 383 feet. Probably feels like it plays more like 400 just because of the amount of power you have to put on it to get through this gap and keep it from going OB either left or right. This gap that the drone flew through is pretty much the only real thing that you can do. I mean, there's some over top that you can try to hit that's really going to depend on the wind and going to be pretty difficult to control because it's very steep angles early on. But flex fairway through this left gap, I believe, is the best play.
Yeah, biggest gap for the right-hand backhand player. If there is that right to left wind, like you mentioned, right-hand backhand players can play a spiking hyzer, but it's really hard to get the distance. Paul's going to be in a very tough spot. Par is going to be hard to attain from there. And one tricky thing, this tee pad's kind of short, and if you're a player with a longer run-up and you got to start behind, you kind of have to run downhill on that first step or two, and it can make this one a little trickier. Matt, very versed in that short run-up.
This lines up so well for Mattio's form. Just like...
Oh, my gosh. Maybe playing driver just to make sure to punch it with the low ceiling. Very uncommon to see a player go out of bounds long here.
Definitely so. But like that looked like a normal Mattio throw, though. Just 100%. That's the way he throws so high. It's easy for him to get that turnover. Ben Callaway not able to get through the gap either. Man, I still can't believe he went long. That's
yeah, I haven't seen it all week. Gannon looks to have driver in his hand as well. He needs to force this one over.
Yeah, it took a lot off of that trying to not go long. Oh, my.
Out of bounds. I didn't even know there was an out of bounds line over there, Nathan. He must have kicked pretty far.
Yeah, I didn't think there was in the woods. He might have carried through and found it left. It's a good upshot from Paul.
Yeah, fortunate to have a spot where he can have a run up and throw a shot.
Oh, my.
Ben, shave that tree.
What a tree kick. Get in bounds.
Oh,
yeah.
my gosh.
Oh, no.
So close.
Man, this hole is just eating some players up.
Gannon steps up quick.
Yeah, pretty frustrated that he found the OB there, I think.
Ben having to chip up. Just trying to save bogey at this point. Double, actually.
Count it as Mattio. Gonna throw twice, cart his par.
You say, give it to me, hole. Come on.
Yeah, what a great par. And a good hole to get a par on. Only 15% of the field taking a birdie on this 383-foot hole.
Yeah, there's a double for Callaway. Trouble comes fast if you do not get through that first gap.
Paul able to scramble for his par. Mattio, though, clean round still going.
And the card plays that one 3 over par as we step up to hole 12. Shortest par 5 I think we will see on the tour all season. 652 feet, but it is a very tight gap off the tee. Decide whether you want to just prioritize hitting the gap with a slower disc or play aggressive with some kind of fairway driver maybe. Trying to get way down in here. Kind of the safe landing zone will be somewhere a little past this stump, maybe by these 2 trees on the right, setting you up for this second tunnel shot. You can get there with a mid-range, but if you want to get aggressive, fairway driver might land you somewhere in here or even a little further down, giving you a very manageable shot for the Eagle 3. Either way, though, this one is tight on both sides, and we're going to see massive scoring separation on the 12th.
Yeah, and that stump that you noted early on in the flight, that tree was there last year.
Evil, Nathan.
So, yeah, I think that has a lot to do with the par 5 nature of this hole. Although 4.92 today, so still averaging as a par 5.
It does feel really close to playing as a difficult par 4. I don't know where the trims need to come, but I think maybe a tree or two gone, and I think it's a good difficult par 4.
Paul ended up on the left side there. Didn't quite get that shot off correctly.
Matt using that short run up.
Oh, yeah.
Mid-range, maybe? Very happy to hit the gap.
Yeah, hit the gap, stayed in the middle.
And we see Gannon lining up to throw sideways here. He found a hole in the course design and is playing a massive turnover off this tee. There's a field full of poison ivy over there, and they said it looked perfect. We saw an OB graphic. Let's see where it is.
Ben Callaway gonna try the intended shot. And
Oh, after watching Gannon take it to the left, hitting that first tree, I wonder how Ben's feeling mentally.
it could throw you off, man. He did hit very early. Oh, and not a good anti-skip there.
Wow.
Must have thrown a very understable disc.
I think it was that buzz again, but I was getting ready to say how it was smart of him to play low there, just trying to keep it checked in the middle and give himself chances at par or birdie still. But yeah, that.
And look at this forehand roller.
That's the old Avenger SS get out of jail Paul Ulibarri disc, and he played it well. Stay tuned. Paul actually has a children's book he's writing about that disc, and he told me the story. He had me literally crying at Las Vegas, so you guys are going to want to get it, trust me.
And Matteo was just slightly too left to really attack, but he's down in a great spot to get up and down for that birdie 4.
Ben, throwing 4, would be very happy to get up and down for par here.
And again, just a bit too understable, pushes straight. So
we
got
comes.
to where Gannon was at. He there's no OB on the tee sign, but he did land in 13's fairway and was deemed OB, which is incredible in my opinion. He should never have done that in the first place. So well-deserved OB stroke, but he does have a chance for birdie here.
Yeah, I think for the first time in Disc Golf Pro Tour history, we actually are going to see a mandatory added mid-tournament on this one, not only for safety, but also for kind of pace of play. I think it was the right move.
Absolutely so. Glad to see it.
We will not see Gannon play that same shot tomorrow, nor the rest of the field that was practicing it after they saw him do it. Ben has a sizable putt for bogey. Hole 12. It can go right and it can go wrong. It's just, like I said, one of those big stroke separators.
And here is Gannon's birdie look and able to connect as he's done all day. Just fantastic on the putting green.
The wry smile. He knows he found a loophole, and just goes to show some kids will chase that win at any cost. And Gannon Buhr, one of those guys.
And Ben, after early tree, does scramble for the bogey. Not a bogey that's going to feel good, as this is an easier par 5. There were 6 eagles on the day. That's just a bit too many to call all of them out, but great shots to those guys. Way to card the 3 on this one.
Score a few less, and you might hear your name tomorrow, guys. Yeah, one of those holes, you throw 2 good shots, you're going to be there on the green. All of a sudden, one shot goes wrong. It's hard to decide. Do you play aggressive on the second? Do you pitch up? Still knowing it's a difficult hole. It's a good one. And
yeah, 3 birdies and a bogey here on our card, showing a little bit of that score separation.
And Callaway really needs to start scoring some birdies to find himself back under par. Like we said, it's a course you can feast or famine on. Robert Burridge in the clubhouse with a 9 down, currently the leader of our event.
Yeah, baby, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Your dynamic disc open champion, Parker Wells.
All right, here we are at hole 13, 364-foot par 3, playing uphill, closer to the 380, 390 range maybe on the power that you need. And again, As you see out here in the open at Bad Rock Creek, you've got OB everywhere. There is a straight line to it that's inbounds the entire time, but you're really going to have to hang your disc out over the OB, whether left or right, and let it fade back in. Don't catch these trees on the right, though. They will drop you inbounds. Ideally, if you have the forehand power, that is going to be the most open and better play, but it's going to take a lot of power to do that, so going to see a lot of stand-up hyzer flip shots for the right-handed backhand.
Now, I was on the course behind your car, Nathan. We heard some excitement. Can you tell us what you threw and what happened with your disc?
Yeah, I threw one of my Huck Lab die, really pop-top star wraiths, and skipped right up and dead center caged it about half an inch low is what the spotter told me.
Ooh.
Almost caught me 2 tournament aces in a row.
Pretty sweet. And we see Ulibarri and Orum both get the nose up on this disc and do not get it to push the distance. A little bit of headwind here. Definitely one of the trickier wins. Like you said, those trees on the right, they both kind of tried to avoid, and you really have to test them for the right-hand backhand if you want to park this one.
Yeah, and Gannon does seem to have that forehand power. This is going pretty left.
Oh.
And just does get back in bounds.
Maybe finds kind of that same spot he found on the drive on the last hole. And
yeah, not far from it.
Long putt for Buhr. Nathan did mention that the forehand is the most open gap. It does take big power, though, and Ben playing a little more direct at it. This looks great.
Fantastic.
Oh!
He's trying to get up there, catch in some metal also, but he is definitely going to take that tap-in birdie. Paul, after the OB stroke, circle 2, looking to save par.
And this is a stretch of the course. If you can birdie this one, you can definitely get a little bit of a rhythm going and try to grab a couple coming into the finish. So hopefully Callaway can start working his way back towards even par or below. Going back to his circle 2 putter.
Oh, and we are going to find the first bogey of Matty O's round now.
I'd like to see him and Ulibarri really commit to this one tomorrow. I think it's hard to miss long, so you'd rather juice up on this one than undercommit. And Gannon, another long bomb, drops it in there for birdie.
I can't remember him missing a putt so far this round.
It was the one on hole 2 that was left side, and since he has not, Nathan.
Yeah, that's a... Man, and they have not been short putts either. He is on it right now on that putting green.
Yeah, he's got 3 or 4 from circle 2 so far, and on a course like this, that's going to be one of the keys to either managing your bad shots or taking advantage of some birdies.
Yeah, and man, is it fun to watch, too. Has been Callaway dropping in that easy birdie. I'm sure Gannon'd rather do that a little bit, too.
Absolutely. But the fans love those big putts, Nathan, and here we are on 14. Par 4, 711 feet. This one doglegs to the right. First shot, gonna play it straight towards this long out of bounds line. And you really wanna just make sure you get to the corner or maybe slightly around it. You don't need to do too much here though. Give yourself some kind of approach, whether you wanna throw a right hand forehand or a turnover slow disc, maybe a putter. You gotta come in with the proper pace as this downslope leads you to some water that you cannot see through and likely won't get your disc back for a little bit. So play this one close and make a putt on the elevated basket.
Yeah, because there's so much moss on top of it, it almost looks cool. Like there's not any breaks in it, so it's just full green.
I saw a frog running away from me in practice. It jumped about 8 times on that before it finally got under the water, so it just shows you how thick that moss really is. Buhr tight on the corner, but going to have birdie options from there.
Yeah, I think 360 to 380 feet is kind of the straightness that you want on this shot. Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh, so fortunate for Callaway. Skies it, hits the tree 40 feet high, guaranteed to go into the out of bounds if he doesn't drop out to the left. There's the break he needs.
Yeah, that defies gravity a little bit as everything's sloping down to
Truly.
the right there.
More of a prime shot for Uli. Hangs it out wide, doesn't test the corner too much. And Nathan, there's a bunch of mountain bike tracks throughout this property. I know I've seen you on that mountain bike a bunch over the years. Have you tried any of them out?
Oh, Matty O just ends up out of bounds there. I actually haven't been able to this week. Mixed feelings about this one as a mountain biker also, but a lot of the trails are right here on the disc golf course. It caught a Could have caused some trouble with some practice rounds or whatnot, so I decided not to in this case.
What a responsible disc golfer this guy is. Callaway pitches to the corner looking for par. Matt gets flat on this one.
Oh, he got a hold of it, and what a break.
Rebounds off of the ad wall into the inbounds. Wow.
It's been done before, but you really don't see that very often.
Yeah, you're looking at a less than 5% chance of some kind of action like that. Uli pushing it long and curls up in that lush grass.
Yeah, what a scary basket to approach on. You're usually going to be 330 feet or so. You might be a little closer than that. But you can't see it, and it slopes downhill a lot, gets to that gets to that water pretty quickly.
Gannon flat on that A2.
Wow.
Just perfectly measured.
There's that drop in I was talking about. Got tired of those big putts. He's going to have a stress-free birdie right there for a nice turkey.
And this is not a bad green to choose to do that. A lot of danger potential here. Callaway's looked to have some too much height, but he had beautiful pacing there.
Yeah, really trusting that straight disc. I think overstable.
Orum for par save.
Wow.
He's fired up.
Oh, yeah. OB off of the tee. OB on the second shot that ends up in bounds. And then a nice circle 2-putt. What a way to scramble.
Uli back at the basket. Yeah, nice and soft in the left side.
Yeah, he's picked up the putts pretty well this round also, especially on this back nine.
Yeah, works himself back to under par for the round. This one looks kind of funny to me, the tall pole with a little koozie on the bottom. I don't know why, but it makes me laugh.
Yeah, it does look a little funny. Gannon still almost as tall as the basket right now, walking up to drop in his birdie. And great 2 shots there from Gannon Buhr.
He finds himself with 3 straight birdies here going into the back stretch. And walk us through hole 15, Nathan.
Yeah, hole 15, I think, could be one of the holes to change in future years. But here we are, 288-foot par 3. I guess you can call this a straight shot towards the basket. There's a little bit of a right bend, and then you need it to bend left to miss these late trees that can knock you back down into the water as well.
What change, if any, do you see here, maybe in this early gap? I wouldn't hate that bushy pine on the left, even just to be trimmed up to the trunk line. I think those 2 feet could make a big difference.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that, actually. That fur you can see on the left side there just really tightens this up, makes it a very funny angle. I like this forehand play. If you throw something stable enough, it's possible if you hit the water, you can skip off of it. And it really keeps you from turning something over into the water.
Yeah, unless you're willing to play like hyzer flip under stable forehand, very common to see players kind of just filter to those tree trunks on the left side short of the circle.
Oh, Ulibarri, let's hit it.
Wow. What touch out of Uli to play the straighter disc on the hyzer stand-up. A lot of technicality on that shot.
You think that was that same scorch?
I feel like it was. It looks that same color. And
that's so much trust to throw a understable disc like that. Very easy to flip it over.
Ben plays the quote-unquote safe right side, Nathan, but I don't think it's that safe.
There's no way to reach the basket that way.
And I don't love that play. You take ace off the table, you take birdie off the table, and now you still have the potential to take bogey. So I really like seeing players attack this one.
Yeah, and this is the, I think, ideal way to attack. However, kind of a weird hole, so he still ends up hitting those trees late. We'll see if they give him inbounds or not. It looked like it did hit the ground maybe before it rolled back in.
Yeah, and whether that fir tree gets trimmed or fully removed, I mean, I hate to see a tree like that go, but it feels like it would make the hole play a little more true and repeatable, which we like to see.
Yeah, and there's a lot of room up as well. So
open it up, lengthen it out. I like it.
Yeah, lengthen it up. Gannon Buhr still not gonna miss himself a putt. Circle 2 cards his 4 birdies in a row now.
He just punched his ticket to the birdie train and stuffed his turkey once.
But yeah, I could see this just a completely different hole, rather than trying to keep that same style, move that basket back, give yourself lines. up to that high side.
Yeah, maybe whether we just push the basket straight onto that slope back there, open up a little bit of the right and the left where we have options. Yeah, I think definitely some stuff that can happen here with hole 15.
As Matteo a bit frustrated there, he's not able to save his par. Gonna card another bogey.
And I think with this being the first time we've seen this course on the Pro Tour, they're going to get a lot of feedback from us players this week, and they've been doing a great job, I think, listening to the feedback. We really appreciate that, and I'm excited to see that as this course continues to evolve, maybe slightly opening up in spots, slightly lengthening in spots, and it's got everything you need for premier disc golf out here at Bad Rock Creek.
Yeah, beautiful course, beautiful property. You can tell they've done a lot of work out here and are willing to do some more. So big shout out to the crew that does all that work out here.
Matt, a little frustrated, wearing it outwardly. Clean it up, Matt. No more chain slaps. And another look at that leaderboard. We have one player, double digits, Joe Anderson, popping off.
Yeah, kind of distancing himself. Robert Burridge already in, so he will not catch up.
Yeah, not a ton of danger in this finishing stretch as long as you hit your gaps. And 16, to me, really polished par 5, one of the better holes on the course in my opinion. Play a gap shot off the tee, get it well up the hill. If you can get to the flat of the hill, you're going to be super happy here, but very hard to do. You really have to test the ceiling and push the power to do that. A lot of times the second shot's going to kind of have to crest the first bit of the hill, then go down, forcing you to play some kind of understable hyzer flip, or if you have the big forehand out to the left or the lefty backhand, you can play that coming back in. If you can get your second shot somewhere down here by these trees in the flat, should be an easy birdie. Regardless of how you play this one, there's an eagle on the table, there's bogeys on the table. It's just a good par 5. Gonna see a lot of score separation, and I feel like no matter how many times you play this one, you'll have just little different variants of where you are.
Yeah, that eagle you're talking about, I think that's going to be pretty high up there in the very difficult to do
For sure.
type of range. Gannon almost gets to the top of that hill, may be able to get down there to the mouth.
Back to that scorch for Uli, just showing off the touch he has.
Oh yeah, gonna get up there in a similar position to Gannon, maybe just a little bit shorter.
I really like the right hand backhand through this gap, but Gannon and Uli understand that if they play forehand, they're likely going to be through the gap every time, and birdie will still be very much on the table.
Yeah, that right hand backhand with the tree line on the right side, you really have to make sure you don't stand it up, but you can't throw anything really stable either because you could find that OB on the left side.
Oh, and Matt, a bit out of sorts, finding some frustration as his clean round is dwindling away. Going to be hard to score, even par from here.
Yeah, but is able to get a pretty good second shot up there to where you'd ideally like to be off of the tee shot. So in a good position to scramble for par, I think.
Ben gets to the knee. Looks to be a little too much fade, but the grass is pretty grabby, so he should be clean stance for his third.
Yeah, good amount of power from a knee right there.
Yeah, Ben's a fantastic athlete, takes great care of himself for a player in his mid-30s.
And just to point out, this slopes so far downhill that what looks to be in the middle will most likely fade out and be OB on the left side. Same with Ben's there, like you said. It looked like it was going to land pretty safe, but a good chance for it to move to the right with how downhill this shot goes.
Yeah, on this second, like I said, you either need to throw something understable and slower, or you have to play forehand the way Gannon has. Tucks it to the right, he's going to open up that gap there.
Yeah, you saw that looked like it was left for the entire flight, and then all of a sudden he's on the right side in the spot that you want to be in.
Matt getting aggressive here on his third, overturns it. Will the trees kick him out? They do. They do. Okay.
Yeah, right there on the edge. That is very fortunate.
Yeah, even a few feet into that wood line, and all of a sudden a stroke is going to be eaten on a pitch out.
So this hole did play as the hardest hole on the course today.
Yeah, enough trouble with that first gap and that downslope pulling discs out of bounds on that second or third shot. There's some trouble throughout here.
Yeah, and really hard to get in the position to hit this gap correctly.
Having to go to a standstill. Fires this one a little bit right. Gonna need to get filtery through these trees, and nearly does. It's a makeable putt.
Yeah, inside circle 2, looking to save his par. Gannon going to be in a great spot, and he is in this spot to hit this gap correctly. Just a little standstill putter, possibly mid-range.
Ooh.
And that's how you draw it up. That's exactly how you want to play this hole.
Clean hyzer through for Buhr. I think, yeah, where this one will eat you is when you try to play too aggressive. If you chip those first 2 shots nice, you do have a repeatable shot for par. And another Avenger SS forehand roller out of Uli.
Oh, man, that just makes me giggle every time, how understable that disc is.
Yeah, the first time I saw him throw that disc on some shots at Hornet's Nest, it inspired me to put something super flippy in my bag, and it's still in there. So Paul definitely, I think, had some effect on the disc golf world using something so understable and showing people that, you can manipulate the disc however you want.
For another big par save. Let's count it. Matty O saves the par after not getting out of the gap from the tee.
Matty O, always a fan favorite. Still 2 under par with 2 holes to go. Strong looking putt out of Callaway, just narrowly right.
Yeah, 5.51, a full half stroke over par. 42% taking bogey or above. 11% double bogey. 6% triple bogey or higher.
Yeah, I think this hole's playing really well. I don't think there's really any changes I'd like to see on 16. To me, it's one of the more polished holes out here on the property.
Yeah, great par 5. And we haven't spoke about it much yet, but these stats, as far as Disc Golf Pro Tour events go, there are maybe about half the field making these stats a bit higher than I think we would normally see.
Yeah, a lot of players going to Europe right now, so we do have a thinner field than we're used to seeing on the tour.
Brings us to hole 17, 461-foot par 4. Definitely not reachable. You want to get to that leaning tree we just passed, and then you might have a line up to this green. Pretty odd hole. Righty backhand really is the best, maybe only play. I haven't been able to do too much with the other shot. Very difficult gap to hit. Pretty tight gap. Looks like Gannon going to prove me wrong already and go with the forehand roller.
To me, this one is probably the one I'd like to see change the most. Just a little too tight to be repeatable. The first shot, you have to put it like 350 out in the perfect spot to have that straight lane into the basket. Otherwise, you're really just scrambling here. And back-to-back forehand rollers, I think that kind of goes to show that this hole needs to open up. If we got the best players in the world playing forehand rollers, I think something just ain't quite right. Matt pushes long, going to be tricky. But you'd rather be pin high long or even too far on this one than the opposite.
This is the shot that I thought that we were going to see the most of. Just kind of an overstable mid-range or possibly fairway. Ben gets himself in, I think, the ideal spot for this hole.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It's so specific. If you are any bit short, it really pinches down on you. 3 forehand rollers out of 4 players.
Now this is off of the tee. These are not approach shots. Just to clarify, because that's where you typically see forehand rollers.
Absolutely.
His approaches that are in trouble.
Trying to cut this corner early, it is a jungle, you guys. You need a lot of fortune, and skill helps too, but it's kind of a luck shot.
And he got fortunate for the majority of the way there.
And I like the shape of this terrain they're trying to use on this hole, so I think it's close to what we want, but it's not repeatable right now, and we don't like to see holes that kind of like you just throw a shape and then hope. But we want to see stuff repeatable if your timing and your angle's right.
So 2 forehand rollers from Gannon.
Oh my
this looks
goodness.
pretty good.
Let's go.
And he is going to have his double turkey opportunity. 6 birdies in a row. Looking at it right there.
That's a healthy stretch of birdies on a course where it is hard to string them together. One of the harder courses to pop off a streak that we've seen all year, honestly.
Yeah, and Mateo's 3rd shot now gets him up to around circle's edge.
Having trouble getting out of that ditch. Shout out to the caddy.
And
Bam.
yeah, Ben's found himself a good position with the normal backhand shot.
He's in the phone booth that you can be in to have the clean shot up to the basket.
And he has shown you the way that you were supposed to play the hole, and he's done it well. 2 backhands, and he's going to be inside circle 1, just outside the bullseye.
Yeah, I'd like to see this first shot maybe opened up, either that or the second. One of them needs to open up. I don't hate the first shot opening up, lengthening our tee a little bit.
Nice. Let's go!
Look at all these par saves from Matty O, and pumped about it.
That's enough for pars.
He said that's enough big putts for pars. He's about done
he's
with
tired
that.
of it. He wants those big putts for birdie like Gannon Buhr's doing this round.
Yes, he does.
But nice to have those big par saves instead of a bunch of bogeys on the card.
Absolutely. Matt's putter keeping him under par currently on this back 9.
Yeah, I think you could open up that first shot and push this basket maybe a little bit just to counteract, you still want to make it a good par 4 and push this basket back a little bit, but make the tee shot more repeatable.
Yeah, I agree. I think right now it's kind of a hit your shape and hope you squeak through. And
Still quite a bit of birdies, though. 29% of the field, so 31 players able to get the birdie there.
hole 18, we have a par 5 to finish it out. 924 feet. This one plays a big uphill shot off the tee. If you can get to the top of the hill or close to it, you will have a shot to play to the second bubble pitch zone. If you can really push the top of the hill or even the downslope here, the eagle is in play. A lot of second shots you'll see wind up in this bubble right here and then chipping some kind of overstable putter into the green. It's a par 5 that all these players are looking to score birdie at worst.
Yeah, kind of a tricky look to it. That tree, the last tree you see there in the fairway, is about 370 feet away, but is a bit uphill. So it takes some pretty good power to get there. Gannon pretty far on the right side. You've got some gaps over there to get onto that little bubble that you saw there for your approach, but
Yeah, he's going to have to play through the gaps instead of the open left side.
yeah, ideally you would like to be on the left. Ben Callaway. Oh my goodness.
Crest
that is
the hill.
550 feet. He's going to have 400, 450 maybe.
He's going to
into
have a
this
flat,
green.
overstable backhand into the green, most likely, for the eagle look. This one's really a true distance shot off the tee. Smash it out there. If you can get some turn and a little bit of fight back, you're going to be very happy. Matt finds a more common spot. Very easy birdie play from there if he chips his forehand correctly on the second.
Yeah, chip a forehand around, or you could hit a gap with a backhand to try to get to that green as well. But like you said, kind of the ideal spot to have options. Paul going to be up there as well, as long as he's way past that trunk.
Yeah,
Don't
good
even have to worry
distance
about
for
it.
Yuli. I feel like last year he did have that injury. I feel like his distance is starting to come back, though, Paul. Just
So
a
this
good
is
throw of the
maybe 350, 360 to safely be on this island, and he does that well. He's going to have 260, 270 to approach.
First time I saw this one on the tee sign, I was like, whoa, this one looks kind of crazy. But as you play, it's like, okay, it makes a lot of sense. I like this hole a lot.
And Matteo is going to hit that gap, sneak inbounds, similar spot to Paul.
Yeah, both those guys probably about 250 feet into the basket. Buhr, well over here on the right, but pretty sizable gap. A2 chip up. We'll likely to see the same disc going into the green.
Nicely done. So now we finally get up to Ben Callaway's drive. And he is not looking at that little bubble there. He's looking up there at the basket.
Able to play hyzer into the green,
Oh my
Nathan.
goodness, this looks great. If the distance is right,
Wow.
almost a bullseye for eagle.
Ben Callaway's, I believe, 34, you guys, and he's such a good athlete.
This eagle would put him back to even for the round as well. Needed that to get to even and not finish over par.
And this is for Gannon to finish with 7 straight birdies, and he will not have any issues with that.
Wow.
What a finish for Buhr after kind of beating the system on hole 12. He just gets on that birdie train and doesn't get off.
Yeah, use that, and people get excited whichever way they're excited for. It can get you on that good, get you in a good feeling. And he used it well. Gonna move after 2 bogeys to start the back 9. Gonna birdie out.
Yeah, and this birdie for Buhr, assuming he taps it in, will find him back on our lead card for tomorrow. So we will be seeing Gannon once again.
Yes, sir. Ben Callaway carding the only eagle today on hole 18, and we got to watch it right here.
You're welcome, you guys. We love seeing those blue numbers. Way to finish out and climb your way back to even, Ben.
With the double circle bullseye on the card, too. That looks sweet.
Paul dives in to the right side, finishes out his round with a birdie.
Yeah, he had a strong back nine as well. Couple bogeys on there, but still 3 under on the back to shoot 2 under par.
Matt had that clean round going, 3 down through 9. Finishes at an even back 9 for 3 down. He's going to be a little frustrated, but he was narrowly off of shooting a solid score as well.
And it doesn't take much off out here to start giving you those bogeys quickly. Kind of like you pointed out earlier, not many times on tour do we see how quickly it can change from birdie to bogey. You get an opportunity for par a lot of the time, but out here that goes away fast.
Absolutely, a really good mix of shots out here at the Bad Rock Creek Disc Golf Course. And we saw some pretty hot scores round 1. Joe Anderson, 4 clear of the field. If you don't know Joe's game, you will see it during round 2. He's got a clean forehand backhand combo and good power on his putt.
Yeah, leaping the entire field and looking, hopefully we can get to see that again tomorrow. For Connor O'Reilly, I'm Nathan Queen.